Well, we're back with the same kind of bus. 2021 Bluebird Vision propane bus. This is hack number 3. This one does quite a bit more. It might take a few minutes to explain, so hold on tight. You can see I'm in the battery box. This one's got a disconnect. This is important because what we're going to do, we're going to erase the adaptive shifting parameters and reprogram the transmission to drive the way we want to drive. The disconnect's the important thing. If it's got one, it makes the job a lot easier. To erase the adaptive shifting program or the parameters and start the program over, you either got to do it with a computer, and there's software. You can go in and do it if you got the software, or you can do it we call it the redneck way, the backdoor way. It don't require a computer. It don't make no marks on the tattletale. It just happens. It goes to sleep and it wakes up a new bus. That's the reason we did it this way. I know, I ain't staying focused here. To erase the adaptive shifting parameters the redneck way, the positive and the negative that goes to the chassis itself, to the powertrain module, you know, the two main, or technically all the main wires. It's just got two in here. You got to touch the negative and positive together, basically what it comes down to, and you got to hold them there. It says 10 seconds. I try to give it 20. That's just me. But with a disconnect, you can turn the disconnect off. You can crawl down the bus, figure out which wire off the disconnect goes to the chassis and which one goes to the batteries. Touch the one that goes to the chassis with a wire to the frame and count for 20 seconds. You don't have to take no cables off the battery. If you don't have a disconnect, yeah, you're going to have to break the cables loose in the battery and touch the positive and negative together for 20 seconds. That's the first half. That's the easy part. Now, for the second part of this, it ain't all that bad. Second part of this, you turn your disconnect back on, if it's got one, or put your cables back on, whichever way. But when you get it all back together, you come up here and you start the bus. Don't go taking off and doing crazy stuff yet. There's a few steps here. But you crank the bus. I like to move it into each gear, like reverse. I'll put it in reverse. I'll take the brake off. I'll let it back up a little bit, and I'll put it in drive. Drive around the parking lot a little bit, nice and easy. Just kind of give it a baseline to start on, because you have erased everything it knows about the way you drive. It is starting brand new. It don't know no difference. After about 5 minutes of tinkering around in the parking lot, not being hard on it, this is when you take it out on the road and you start driving it more like you would drive it. If you're going to drive aggressive, I'm not telling you to go out and immediately be aggressive on it. Take your time. You've got probably 20 to 30 minutes of time to teach it the way you want to drive. So the first few minutes, ease around the parking lot. Next few minutes, depending on where you're at, ease around. If you're in the county or if you're in the city, ease around. Let it shift a few times and let it realize what's going on. I know this sounds funny to talk this way about one. It does to me anyway. Computer business don't belong on a lot of things. By the way, anyway, after you drive it for, say, 5 minutes parking lot, 5 minutes out on the road, this is when you're going to teach it exactly what you want to do. You can go easy or you can go aggressive. The way I programmed our buses was more aggressive because of the hills and the rough roads. When we got our buses, they won't hold gear long enough. First, second, and third, you have to fight constantly to keep it in a lower range where it'll pull a hill. So I took off and I hit some of the steeper hills that I knew was around, and I was aggressive climbing the hill. I just leave it at that. Anybody that's drove one of these buses knows it's governed. Don't worry about the RPMs. It's governed at 4,200. It's rated at like 5,800. So drive it the way you need to drive it in order to make it pull. I drove it aggressive in first 3 gears and let up a little bit on fourth and let it do its own thing on fifth and sixth. That's because most of our roads are real roads and really steep inclines and really steep hills go up and down. You know, you got to go off the other side the same way as you go up. It's going to be steep either way. But the best part of this whole hack is when you let off the pedal, these buses will go down to idle and they won't pull against you on a hill. They will actually shift down and help you instead of holding a higher gear and pulling against you. When we got ours, they would pull against you going off hill. You rode the brake all the way to the bottom of the hill. You felt like it was trying to run away. I didn't realize it was the transmission pulling against me there at first. It took a little while to realize what was going on. It was staying in a high gear and the torque converter was staying locked because these buses wasn't programmed probably the way they should have been. They was programmed quickly. Because I know the Roush team that came here and worked on our buses said that there was a lot of parameters that wasn't set right, and they set a lot of it right, but I dumped the shifting parameters after they left. But I have a lot better running bus as far as I'm concerned. When I drive one of these, it's had these 3 hacks done. They pull better, they respond better, they stay in gear better. I hope this helps somebody. I hope you enjoyed our video. Always remember my disclaimer. I'm not telling you to do it. I'm not requiring anybody to do it. I ain't telling you have to. It's up to you. I don't take no credit, no blame. Thank you.